Good morning. Welcome to the Diabetes Recovery YouTube channel. My name is Kevin, and today is October 29th, 2023, and we're going to talk about diabetes on this channel and recovery. Our mission is to prevent and cure diabetes. Our vision is a world free of diabetes and its complications. We founded this channel to improve the lives of people with diabetes and to provide diabetics with the tools to navigate the world of diabetes. Come and learn about diabetic diet, health myths, nutrition, diabetes control tips, high blood sugar regulation, diabetic health, controlling fasting blood sugar, and general wellness. We believe that diabetes can be cured, can be controlled, and people can recover from diabetes. We will share stories of diabetes recovery and promising research. Welcome to this channel. We're going to talk a lot about diabetes, about the causes of diabetes, and help people to give accurate information. Did you know that over 37 million Americans have diabetes? However, only 1 in 5 are aware of their condition. We're going to talk about a lot of different things on this channel. Let's check the weather. Today, the 7-day forecast is the high for today to reach 55 degrees. Tonight, a low of 16. Tomorrow, we expect a high of 50 degrees and a low of 14 degrees. It's getting colder. It's October now. October 29th, and we have 2 more days to Halloween. It's Sunday, and tomorrow morning we expect a low of 14 degrees. Tuesday, we expect a high of 56 degrees and a low of 16 degrees, and this is Fahrenheit. You know, there's a diabetes lie that type 2 diabetes is not reversible. However, it is absolutely reversible. We are going to share many case studies of people who have overcome diabetes, especially type 2 diabetes. Let's check the World Volcano Report. Looks like today in the Aleutian Islands, there is an advisory for Sishandine and the Trident Mountain in the United States, Alaskan Peninsula. And there are many other advisories for the Pacific Ocean, Europe and the Atlantic Ocean, Africa, Indian Ocean, Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean. And of course, the Ring of Fire around the Philippines and Japan and other regions. Even Michael Allen in the South Sandwich Islands of the UK has a red advisory for that mountain as far as being showing volcanic activity. You know, there are herbs that mitigate type 2 diabetes. One of them is bitter melon. Bitter melon acts like insulin in reducing insulin resistance. You know, there's a blood sugar spike fact. Actually, stress can cause sudden blood sugar spikes. So managing stress is vital for diabetes control. The Mayan Island mountain on Luzon Island in the Philippines has a red advisory for volcanic activity. And in South America, the Nevado del Ruiz in Colombia has a red advisory for volcanic activity in South America. Did you know that some foods can actually lower blood sugar levels. Dark leafy greens are blood sugar friendly. Also, aloe vera helps regulate blood sugar levels. Nature does provide remedies for diabetes, and we're going to talk more about that. Checking other activity over here. In the Pacific Ocean, the home reef in the Tonga Islands has a red advisory for volcanic activity. I actually had a friend 4 weeks ago was stuck in Alaska because of volcanic activity and airports were closed. Diabetes mellitus refers to a group of diseases that affect how the body uses blood sugar, or what is called glucose. Glucose is an important source of energy for the cells that make up the muscles and tissues in the body. It is also the brain's main source of fuel, along with amino acids. I even hear that raccoons in New York are starting to get diabetes because they're eating junk food, pizza, and junk food, fast food that's thrown out in the garbage. They eat the foods that have high sugar content, high fat content, and they develop diabetes. I even hear that cats are developing diabetes because there's sugar in their cat food. So we're going to talk about the influence of sugar in the body and in diet. Actually, many indigenous peoples did not have diabetes 40 years ago. It was very rare to see. And of course, they didn't eat sugar, they didn't eat sodas and fast foods either. No matter what type of diabetes a person has, it can lead to excess sugar in the blood. Too much sugar in the blood can lead to serious health problems. Another diabetes prevention fact is that maintaining a healthy weight can prevent diabetes. Lifestyle choices make a big difference. And of course, diabetes and exercise fact. Regular exercise can improve insulin sensitivity, a key factor in diabetes management. Chronic diabetes conditions include type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Potentially reversible diabetes conditions include pre-diabetes and gestational diabetes. So we're going to talk a lot about that. I actually learned of a study in Dutch, about 50 people who went through a study and they changed their diet, improved their exercise, and they reversed diabetes. Pre-diabetes happens when blood sugar levels are higher than normal, but the blood sugar levels aren't high enough to be called diabetes. Pre-diabetes can lead to diabetes, and thus steps are taken to prevent it. Gestational diabetes happens during pregnancy, but it may go away after the baby is born. Now, some people think that they can substitute sugar for these alternative sugars, but the fact is, artificial sweeteners are not a safe choice. They may not affect blood sugar and metabolism. Having a family history of diabetes can increase the risk. Some people say that genetics do play a role, but so does lifestyle. Looking at the volcano report, we see in Guatemala that Santiaguito mountain is on watch for volcanic activity. And also in Guatemala, the Fuego mountain is on the watch for volcanic activity. There's also a watch of volcanic activity at the Reventador volcano with volcanic ash plume that rose up to an estimated 17,000 feet or 5,200 meters altitude. And that was today, October 29th, 2023. This is on the channel of diabetes recovery. We're also giving you some news update, weather, volcanic activity, earthquakes, and other things. Now regarding breakfast and blood sugar, skipping breakfast is not a good idea for diabetics. A balanced breakfast can stabilize blood sugar. There are many spices can also help in diabetes. One of them is cinnamon. Cinnamon can lower blood sugar levels. This is nice because it's a flavorful and natural remedy for diabetes. My name is Kevin, and this is the Diabetes Recovery Channel on YouTube. Today is October 29th, 2023, Sunday, 2 days before Halloween, if your country celebrates Halloween. You know, many people think that just monitoring their blood sugar is enough to take care of the diabetes. That's not true. Diabetes recovery also includes diet, exercise, and medication may be needed, depending on your situation. Of course, losing weight has a big factor in that, because fat accumulates around the internal organs and it adds stress to the pancreas. Now, what about snacking? Snacking in between meals is good for diabetes. Healthy snacks can help stabilize blood sugar throughout the day so that there are not these big spikes in blood sugar. In Peru, there's a volcano watch for Ubenes volcano in Peru. It's actually in the red zone. Ubenes is Peru's most active volcano. It's a small 1.5 kilometer wide cauldron that cuts the top of the volcano. The steep walled 150 meter deep summit caldera contains an ash cone with a 500-meter wide and 200-meter deep crater. Debris, avalanche deposits from the collapse of the southwest flank of Ubenes about 3,700 years ago extended 10 kilometers from the volcano. Widespread pumice ball deposits from Ubenes include one of the Holocene age about 1,000 years ago. Holocene lava flows are visible on the volcano's flanks, but historical activity documented since the 16th century has consisted of intermittent minor to moderate explosive eruptions. So I'm sure this is having an effect on the people there. During October 22nd, October 16th to the 22nd of October, a low to moderate levels of eruptions were apparent, and there were daily averages of 204 volcano tectonic earthquakes, indicating rock fractures, and a 25-mile long earthquakes. 25 long period earthquakes signifying the movement of gas and magma. Steam and gas emissions rose as high as 1 kilometer above the crater rim. Now, type 1 diabetes fact. Some people believe that diabetes 1 only affects children. That's not true. People of all ages can develop type 1 diabetes. Another thing that people don't realize is diabetes can affect mental health. And managing diabetes can be emotionally challenging. Some of the symptoms of type 1 and type 2 diabetes are feeling more thirsty than usual, urinating often, losing weight without trying. Also, prevalence of ketones in the urine. Ketones are a byproduct of the breakdown of muscle and fat, and that happens when there's not enough available insulin in the body. Another symptom is feeling tired and weak, or feeling irritable, or having other mood changes. Having blurry vision, having slow healing sores, and getting a lot of infections, such as gum infections, skin infections. Type 1 diabetes can start at any age, but it often starts during childhood or teen years. Type 2 diabetes, the more common type, can develop at any age, and type 2 diabetes is more common in people older than 40. But type 2 diabetes in children is increasing. I wonder why. So people generally think that diabetes only affects the pancreas. That's not true. Diabetes can lead to heart disease, blindness, and more. What about portion size? People think that portion size has an effect. Eating large portions is not good for diabetics. Smaller portions can actually manage blood sugar levels. So the question is, when to see a doctor? If you think you or your child may have diabetes, if you notice any possible symptoms, contact your healthcare provider. The earlier the condition is diagnosed, the sooner treatment can begin. That's why this is the Diabetes Recovery Channel on YouTube. If you've already been diagnosed with diabetes, of course, see your doctor. After you receive the diagnosis, you need to follow up with blood sugar stabilization, with an exercise plan, with a diet plan, and of course, to lose weight. Sleep plays a significant role in diabetes. Poor sleep does impact blood sugar levels. So it's important to get good sleep. What about those so-called healthy sugars? Not true. Labels like agave nectar can still spike blood sugar levels. Insulin is a hormone that comes from a gland behind and below the stomach. It's called the pancreas. The pancreas produces insulin. It releases insulin into the bloodstream. Insulin circulates, letting sugar enter the cells. Natural sugar. Insulin lowers the amount of sugar in the bloodstream. As the blood sugar level drops, so does the secretion of insulin from the pancreas. In Ecuador, there's a volcano called Sangay, and it is currently erupting. It is classified a 4 out of 5. Today, October 29, 2023. It's one of the largest active volcanoes in the world, and one of Ecuador's most active ones. Located isolated east of Andean crest, with its perfect sheep cone-shaped glacier-covered top. It towers majestically at 5,230 meters above the Amazon forest. Thankfully, there are no earthquakes nearby. The present-day volcano was built within horseshoe-shaped calderas of 2 previous eruptions, which were destroyed by collapse to the east, producing large debris avalanches that reached the Amazonian lowlands. The modern eruption dates back to at least 14,000 years ago. Sandgate towers above the tropical jungle on the east side, and the other sides of flat plains of ash from the volcano have been sculpted by heavy rains into steep-walled canyons up to 500 meters deep. The earliest report of a historic eruption was in 1528. More or less continuous eruptions have reported from 1728 until 1916, and again from 1934 to the present. The more or less constant eruption activity was caused frequent changes to the morphology of the summit crater complex. Managing diabetes is not a solo journey. It's important to have a strong network, a system in place for continued success. Having a strong support system helps emotionally, physically, and medically along the journey of diabetes recovery. In central Chile, there's a volcano erupting right now called Villa Rica. It's at 9,340 feet high, or 2,847 meters. It's in central Chile. And the last update was on October 25th. This is a snow-covered mountain, one of Chile's most active volcanoes. It rises above the lake and town of the same name. It erupts lava and is one of the few permanently active volcanoes in the world, with frequent activity and sometimes a small lava lake present in its summit crater. Interesting. The eruption style is mildly explosive. This mountain is the westernmost of three large stratovolcanoes that trend perpendicular to the Andean chain along the Castro Fault. The volcano edifice was built at the rim of two overlapping calderas. One is 6 kilometers wide, formed about 10,000 years ago, and the second 2 kilometers wide, formed about 3,500 years ago. The volcano is located in the northwest margin of the older caldera. More than 30 cones and fissure vents dot the flanks. Eruptions and flows that have extended up to 20 kilometers from the volcano have been produced during the past few thousand years. Lava flows up to 18 kilometers long have issued from the summit and flank vents. Historic eruptions documented since 1558 have consisted largely of mild to moderate explosive activity with occasional lava eruptions. Glaciers over 40 square kilometers of the volcano. Hazardous from Villa Rica include massive mud flows caused by the melting of snow and glacier ice, as well as rainfalls, such as during the eruptions of 1964 and 1971, when large damage caused to the towns on its flanks. Villa Rica along the Chilean border are protected by Villa Rica National Park. Ascents of the volcano are popular, with several guided ascents reaching to the top during the summer. So people actually walk up to the top. Foot care is a priority for diabetics. Preventing foot complications is essential. The role of glucose. Glucose is a sugar, naturally created sugar in the body. It is the source of energy for the cells that make up molecules and other tissues. Glucose comes from two major sources. It comes from food and the liver. Sugar is absorbed into the bloodstream where it enters cells with the help of insulin. The liver stores and makes glucose. When glucose levels are low, such as when a patient hasn't eaten in a while, the liver then breaks down stored glycogen into glucose. This keeps glucose levels within the typical range. When things start to go wrong with the pancreas, sugar builds up in the bloodstream. This is because the pancreas doesn't produce enough insulin. Both with type 1 and type 2 diabetes, this may be caused by a combination of genetic or environmental factors. Of course, we're going to talk a lot more about that in our videos. So a lot of what is being talked in the medical field, in the research field, is about genetics, but what they don't talk about is the history of food. Long-term complications can develop with diabetes gradually over time. The longer a person has diabetes, the less they have control over their blood sugar, which increases the risk of complications. Eventually, diabetes complications may be disabling or even life-threatening. In fact, diabetes can lead to type 2 diabetes. Well, pre-diabetes can lead to type 2 diabetes. Now, the possible complications include heart and blood level disease, blood vessel disease, cardiovascular disease. Diabetes majorly increases the risk of many heart problems. These can include coronary heart disease with chest pain, which is called angina, heart attack, stroke, narrowing of arteries. If a person has diabetes, they are more likely to have heart disease or stroke. There's actually a volcano in the Antarctic. It's called Erebus. E-R-E-B-U-S, volcano. It's at 12,447 feet, or 3,794 meters. It is currently erupting with a score of 4 out of 5. But last update was October 8th, 2021. It could be seen from space. Mount Elbrus stratovolcano is the highest and most active volcano of Antarctica. One of volcanic 7 summits, and the largest of 4 volcanoes that form the roughly triangular Ross Island. Mount Elbrus and the extinct Mount Burr to the north, Mount Terra Nova, and Mount Terror to the east. Hut Point Peninsula to the south is the location of McMurdo Station, the main U.S. base, and Scott Base, the main New Zealand base. Mount Elbrus volcano, located on the western half of Ross Island, Antarctica, is the world's southernmost historically active volcano, and famous for its active boiling lava lake. You've probably seen videos of this. Its summit temperature averages between -20 in the summer to -50 Celsius in the winter. It is covered by glaciers. It was discovered by explorer Captain James Ross in 1841 and climbed in 1908 by members of Ernest Shackleton's expedition. Since then, it was visited only very rarely by the following 100 years. The typical eruption style is effusive with a persistent lava lake. Before this, the last eruption was in December 1972. Before that, 1963, 1967, and many other years. And there are no earthquakes currently being reported. So diabetics also wonder about alcohol intake. Alcohol actually does affect blood sugar levels. Water drinking can affect blood sugar. Other complications of diabetes include nerve damage, which is called diabetic neuropathy. Too much sugar can injure the walls of the tiny blood vessels, or the capillaries, that nourish the nerves, especially in the legs. This can cause tingling, numbness, burning, or pain that usually begins at the tips of the toes or fingers and gradually spreads upward. Damage to the nerves related to the digestion can cause problems with nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, or constipation. Another complication from diabetes is kidney damage. The kidneys hold millions of tiny blood vessel clusters that filter waste from the blood. Diabetes can damage this delicate filtering system. Reducing stress is very important for diabetics. One activity that has shown effectiveness is mindfulness. Mindfulness meditation practices have been shown to have a positive effect on diabetes. Reducing stress through mindfulness does help. Another complication of diabetes is eye damage. Which is called diabetic retinopathy. Diabetes can damage the blood vessels of the eye, and this can lead to blindness. Of course, we already talked about this before, foot damage. Nerve damage to the feet or poor blood flow to the feet increases the risk of many foot complications. Another complication of diabetes is skin and mouth conditions. Diabetes may leave a person more prone to skin problems, including bacterial and fungal infections. Another complication of diabetes is hearing impairment. Hearing problems are more common in people with diabetes. Another less known fact about a complication of diabetes is diabetes can lead to an increased risk of dementia, such as Alzheimer's disease. Also, like we talked about before with mental health, diabetes symptoms are common in people with depression. Symptoms are common in people with type 1 and type 2 diabetes. My name is Kevin, and this is the YouTube channel Diabetes Recovery. It is Sunday, October 29, 2023. This is the Diabetes Recovery channel, and our mission is to prevent and cure diabetes. Our vision is a world free of diabetes and its complications. We founded this channel to improve the lives of people with diabetes and provide diabetics with the tools to navigate the world of diabetes. Come to our channel, subscribe, like, comment, and hit the bell notification to learn about diabetic diet, diabetic health myths, nutrition, diabetes control tips, high blood sugar regulation, controlling fasting blood sugars, and general wellness. We believe that diabetes can be reversed. People can recover from diabetes and can be cured. We will strive to share stories of diabetes recovery and promising research. The news on volcanoes. So we take you to Africa, Ethiopia, specifically the Erta Ali volcano, which is 2,011 feet tall or 613 meters. It is currently erupting with a score of 4 out of 5. The Erta Ali volcano is a large shield volcano of the Erta Ali volcanic range in the central northern Danakil depression of northeast Ethiopia. It is famed for its persistent lava lake. which has been active during most of the past decade since it was first discovered in the 1960s. Urta Ali is only 613 meters high, but, as typical for a shield volcano, has a very gentle slopes and a large 40-kilometer diameter base. The summit is truncated by a complex, elongated, 1,700 by 600 meter wide caldera, which contains vast lava flows and several larger and smaller pit craters. Most notably, the active north and south crater, which contains the lava lake at present. Urta Ali is one of the main attractions of the Danakil and has become a popular tourist destination in recent years. Unfortunately, the deadly attack on January 4th, 2012 against tourists and scientists camped on the crater rim, in which several were killed, illustrates that the area is politically unstable and can be subject to terrorist attacks. Anyone visiting the volcano should be aware of this. So this current eruption has actually been going on since 2005. Before that, it was 1967 to 2004, and there are currently no earthquakes. The Urta Ali is one of the few volcanoes in the world that have an almost persistent lava lake. It is an isolated shield volcano, 40 kilometers wide, rising more than 600 meters from below sea level in the barren Danakil Depression. The volcano contains elliptical summit crater with several steep-sided pit craters, one of them containing a lava lake. Another larger 1 to 3 kilometer wide depression, elongated parallel to the trend of the Urta Ali range, is located to the southeast of the summit and is bound by a curvilinear fault, scarps on the southeast side. Fresh looking lava flows from these fissures have poured into the caldera and locally overflown its rim. The summit caldera is renowned for one or sometimes two long-term lava lakes that have been active since 1967, or possibly since 1906. Recent fissure eruptions have occurred on the northern flank of Urta Ali. So there are tours there, but tourists need to be careful. Complications of gestational diabetes. Most women who have gestational diabetes deliver healthy babies. However, untreated or uncontrolled blood sugar levels can cause problems for the mother and the baby. Complications for the baby include excess growth. Extra glucose can cross the placenta. Extra glucose triggers the baby's pancreas to make extra insulin. This can cause the baby to grow too large. It can lead to a difficult birth and sometimes the need for a C-section. Low blood sugar complications. Sometimes babies of mothers with gestational diabetes develop low blood sugar or hypoglycemia shortly after birth. This is because their own insulin production is high. Another complication is type 2 diabetes later in life. Babies of mothers who have gestational diabetes have a higher risk of developing obesity and type 2 diabetes later in life. Another complication possibly is death. Untreated gestational diabetes can lead to a baby's death, either before or shortly after birth. Complications in the mother can also be caused by gestational diabetes, including preeclampsia. Symptoms of this condition include high blood pressure, too much protein in the urine, and swelling in the legs and feet. Of course, gestational diabetes. If the mother has had gestational diabetes in one pregnancy, they are more likely to have it again in the next pregnancy. This is the Diabetes Recovery Channel. Today is October 29, 2023, and my name is Kevin. Prevention of type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes can be prevented, but the healthy life cycle choices that help treat pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and gestational diabetes can also help prevent type 1 diabetes. Number 1, eat healthy foods. Choose foods lower in fat and calories and higher in fiber. Focus on fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Eat a variety to keep from feeling bored. Number 2, get more physical activity. Try to get about 30 minutes of moderate aerobic activity on most days of the week. The aim is to get at least 150 minutes of moderate aerobic activity a week. For example, take a brisk daily walk, or if a person can't take a long workout, break it up into smaller sessions throughout the day. Number 3, lose excess pounds. If the person is overweight, even losing 7% of body weight can lower the risk of diabetes. Of course, don't try to lose weight during pregnancy. And the mother should talk to the provider about how much weight is healthy for a woman to gain during pregnancy. Keep weight in average range. Work on long-term changes to eating habits and exercise habits. Remember, the benefits of losing weight, such as a healthier heart, more energy, and a higher self-esteem. Sometimes drugs are an option. Oral diabetic drugs, such as metformin, may lower the risk of type 2 diabetes, but healthy lifestyle choices are important. If a person is pre-diabetic, have blood sugar checked at least once a year to make sure that it does not develop into type 2 diabetes. This is the Diabetes Recovery YouTube channel. Today is October 29, 2023, and my name is Kevin. Diabetic neuropathy is a type of nerve damage that can occur if a person has diabetes. High blood sugar, glucose, can injure nerves throughout the body. Diabetic neuropathy most often damages nerves in the legs and feet. Diabetic neuropathy, depending on the effect, can include pain, numbness in the legs, feet, and hands. It can also cause problems with the digestive system. urinary tract, blood vessels, and heart. Some people have mild symptoms, but for others, diabetic neuropathy can be quite painful and disabling. Diabetic neuropathy is a serious complication of diabetes that may affect as many as 50% of people with diabetes. It can be prevented or slowed with consistent blood sugar management and a healthy lifestyle. We're going to talk a lot about healthy lifestyle and diets and foods on this channel. The most common type of diabetic neuropathy is peripheral neuropathy. It affects the feet and legs first, followed by the hands and arms. Signs and symptoms are often worse at night, but may include tingling, burning feeling, numbness, reduced ability to feel pain or temperature, muscle weakness, sharp pins or cramping feeling. Serious foot problems could include ulcers, infections, and also joint and bone damage. Another problem could be extreme sensitivity to touch for some people. Even the weight of sheets, bed sheets, can be painful. Of course, our mission here is to prevent and cure diabetes. The vision is a world without diabetes and its complications. We founded this channel to improve the lives of people with diabetes and provide diabetics with the tools to navigate the world of diabetes. Learn about diabetic diet, health myths, nutrition, diabetes control tips, high blood sugar regulation, controlling fasting blood sugars, and general wellness. We believe that diabetes can be reversed. People can recover from diabetes, and it can be cured. We will share stories of diabetes recovery and promising research. I think most people are aware of the most common side effect or complication of diabetes is kidney damage. About 1 in 3 people living with diabetes in the United States have diabetic kidney damage. It affects the removing of waste products and extra fluid from the body. The kidney usually works that way, and the best way to prevent or delay kidney damage, diabetic kidney damage, is by living a healthy lifestyle and keeping diabetes and high blood pressure managed. Over the years, diabetic kidney damage slowly damages the kidney's filtering system. Early treatment may prevent this condition or slow it and lower the chance of complications. Of course, diabetic kidney disease can lead to kidney failure. Kidney failure is a life-threatening condition, and treatment options for kidney failure are dialysis or kidney transplant. The early stages of diabetic kidney disease are high blood sugar, high blood pressure that gets harder to control, swelling of feet, ankles, hands, or eyes, shortness of breath, foamy urine, confusion or difficulty thinking, nausea and vomiting, itching, loss of appetite, shortness of breath, confusion or difficulty thinking, tiredness and weakness. Of course, causes of diabetic kidney disease happens when diabetes damages blood vessels and other cells in the kidneys. The kidneys have millions of tiny blood vessel clusters that filter waste from the blood. Damage to these blood vessels can lead to diabetic kidney disease. Damage can keep the kidneys from working as they should and lead to kidney failure. The most common cause is complications from type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Over time, diabetes isn't well controlled. Can lead to blood vessels that are damaged in the kidneys that filter waste from the blood. This can lead to kidney damage and cause high blood pressure. High blood pressure can cause more kidney damage by raising the pressure in the filtering system of the kidneys. If a person has diabetes, the following can raise their risk of diabetic kidney disease. Uncontrolled high blood sugar, also called hyperglycemia. Uncontrolled high blood pressure, called hypertension. Smoking. High blood cholesterol, obesity, and a family history of diabetes or kidney disease.